Hi, my name's Kay Vincent and this is a quick demonstration to show somebody called May how to make a personalised coaster from polymer clay. Coasters are really useful things because you can put a cup or mug on them and then it will protect the desk or table underneath them, but they can be a bit boring, so it's nice for you to make your own. You can make just one for yourself with the first letter of your name on it, or make them for family and friends, or maybe as a special Father's Day present for your dad to take to work and put on his desk, maybe. And the great thing about coasters is that as well as being useful, they're easy to make and you don't need many tools. You can use any polymer clay like Sculpey, or Fimo, or Kato clay, or Premo. I happen to be using Sculpey today, and I've got about half a standard size block of greeny blue scraps, and then I've got some yellow clay about the size of a small grape to use for the letter design that's going to go on top of the coaster. But you can use any colours really, just try to make sure that the colour for the letter is a lot lighter or darker than the bigger lump, and then the letter should be easy to see. And the only tools I'm using today are a sheet of white paper, a clay roller, and a large cookie cutter that is wider than a normal mug, and my fingers. The first step with any polymer clay project is to condition the clay, which in other words is just to make it soft enough to work with easily. And the quickest way to condition clay is to roll it through a pasta machine a few times, but if you haven't got a pasta machine, that's fine, you can do it by hand, so I'll do that now. I'll start with the smaller piece and roll it into a snake. Then when it's long enough to bend in two, then I twist the two halves together and then roll them back into a snake. If the clay is crumbly, which this isn't really, but if yours is, then you can just roll it back into a ball, push it back into the ball, and then roll it into a snake again. But really, you just keep rolling it into a snake, folding it, twisting it, rolling it into a snake again a few times. Until the lump of clay is quite warm and it's easy to use, and it's a bit, this one's gone a bit squashy, so that's nice, that'll be easy to work with. For the larger piece of clay, do the same thing, but break off pieces about the size of grape so that it's easier to work with. Roll them into snakes. This one's a bit more crumbly than the other one, so I'm going to do what I said, which is squash it back into a ball, roll it into a snake, then when it's long enough, fold it over, twist it a bit, roll that back into a snake, fold it over, twist it, roll it into a snake, and then keep doing that with grape-sized pieces until all of the pieces are easy to work with, and then squash them into a big ball. So we've got a big ball of clay and a smaller ball of clay that are nicely conditioned now and should be easy to work with. And start by squashing the big ball of clay a bit flat with your fingers. squashing it flat. Until it's flat enough that you can start to use the roller. So go up and down first, and then either side to side, or just turn it round and still do up and down. And you want to get it so it is going to be bigger than the cookie cutter, so it's going to be wider. It's going to have a bigger diameter. So I keep going. That's quite a nice pattern actually from the scraps. It was an accident. Once it's a bit bigger than the cookie cutter, just gently press the cookie cutter down just to make a circle mark on it. So I'm not going to press all the way through and cut it, I'm just going to make a circle. We're halfway there now. Now with your fingernail, lightly mark a letter onto the clay. My name's Kay, so I'm going to make a K. Don't go right to the edges of the circle that you marked. Try and leave a space around the edge, maybe the width of your finger. So I'm going to do a K. You might not be able to see it, but I can. If you go wrong, it doesn't matter, you can just rub it smooth and then roll it out again. Maybe make that mark again with the cookie cutter just to see where your circle is, and try again, making a K. And now roll the other ball of clay into a long thin worm. Probably enough, and then use that to make the letter on top of the coaster. So just lay it on top of the marks that you made. You just pinch it with your fingernail to cut it. Next, press the letter gently into the clay so that it stays still when you're going to roll it. And then roll the clay flat. Again, go up and down and side to side, or up and down, and maybe move the piece of paper. Once it's flat and flat enough that you could put a cup or mug onto it, then you can cut it out with the cookie cutter. I think that's just about right. And remove the spare bits around the outside. And then it's ready to bake. Bake it for at least 15 minutes at the temperature shown on the clay packet. So on my Sculpey packet that says 130 degrees centigrade or 275 Fahrenheit, but if it's Fimo that you're using, then that's 110 degrees centigrade and 230 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's it, a personalised coaster.